Hey guys, it is December the 13th, 2025, and I hope everybody's been having a wonderful day so far today. I hope everybody's having a great start to their weekend as well. It's about 7 o'clock right now. It's been a pretty long day. I was doing some projects with my oldest son all day today. We got outside about 11 o'clock this morning, and we just got inside about 30 minutes ago, and I went ahead and took a shower and then ran out here to go ahead and film my video for today. While I was taking a shower, I hadn't really thought about what I was going to talk about. Like I said, it's been pretty busy. So I was trying to decide what I wanted to discuss, and I went through my notes and had a couple of ideas I was kind of rolling around in my head and wasn't really sure exactly which one I wanted to talk about. You know, the thing is with it is, when I do these videos, often I have a couple of ideas, and I've just got to I've got to think about them, for a couple hours most days, and just see which one of them really speaks to me. And usually something will call to me, and sometimes I'll have some ideas, and it's not even the ideas that I had that I started off with that morning, let's say. But sometimes, like today, I had a couple of ideas, and like I said, I was rolling them around, wasn't exactly sure, and then when I was walking out here, an idea came to me, and I was like, I got to talk about that today. And like I said, I kind of changed my mind, but I've got a pretty good topic for today. And I know that I've been talking about a lot of relapse subjects here recently. But the reason I'm talking about this so much here is, we're getting really close to the holiday season. I mean, we really are. It's not that far away. And, with us getting close to the holiday season, we could really start thinking about drinking or using a lot because, you might have to go to, let's say, your family's house and have Thanksgiving with your family, and you get really bad anxiety when you get around them. You might not get along with your aunt or your uncle, or you might not get along with your mom or your dad, or you have a sister that you don't get along with, or a brother you don't get along with, or whatever it is, or a grandparent that you don't ever see. And there's a reason that you don't ever see them. It's because you guys really don't get along, and you're going to have to, be around them, let's say Thanksgiving Day and Christmas, and we have to spend a good bit of time around our family around the holidays. And I know for myself, I used to start getting stressed out when I started thinking about it. It could have been 2 months away, and I would start thinking about, now, I've got to go over to my family's house. And I never knew who was going to show up over at our house either. We always got somebody from out of town, because my family is not from here, where we live at right now. And I just never knew who was going to show up. Are they going to bring somebody else with them? And I don't know why, but it just always gave me anxiety. And I just didn't spend a lot of time with my family growing up either. So a lot of these people, I just don't know very well. And then I go to my parents' house for Thanksgiving, and there's people over there that I really don't know. And it would give me really bad anxiety. So like I said, I would start thinking about it months in advance. And, by the time that I got over to my parents' house that day, I would be completely wasted drunk. It was like that every single year. And I've spoken about this, but, Christmas time, the last Christmas that we had that I was still drinking, I was passed out before we even started opening up presents. It's a really sad thing to think about, because we went over to my parents' house. All of our family was over there. My brother, his wife, his kids, myself, my wife, and my children. There were some other family members that were there, and I showed up stumbling over myself when we got there. I'd been drinking since I woke up that morning, and I remember that day. I woke up at 5 a.m. And just started drinking, and I started thinking about what was going on that day. The anxiety started setting in, and I thought to myself, well, I'm just going to go ahead and catch a nice buzz before you go over there. Well, that's not what happened. I I ended up getting completely wasted drunk before we got over there. And like I said, I went and sat down in the living room, and I don't even remember doing it. All I remember is waking up, and it was dark outside. And I remember my dad coming to me and saying, "You've got a bunch of presents over there that you have to open up." And I had to open up my presents while everybody watched me. Instead of all of us opening up presents together at the same time, I had to sit there, and everybody had to start all over, come in there and sit down in the living room while I just opened up everybody's presents, and I felt horrible about it. Gosh, that's a really sad day to think about. But that was the last time I showed up to something like that intoxicated. I got sick, that spring right after that. But that's not what I'm talking about today. What I was actually going to talk about today, I don't know why I got sidetracked on that topic, but I was explaining, the fact that I was, I've been doing a lot of videos here recently about relapse and, thinking about going back to it and all that kind of stuff. And today is no different. Today is the same thing, same topic. But like I said, I just feel like it's really important to talk about this today. And what that is the, when we've been thinking about drinking or using, let's say it started that morning. Somehow or another, a seed got planted in the morning. Maybe you were driving to work, or maybe something happened today. Maybe you were running to Walmart to go pick up some groceries, and a song came on the radio. And the song that came on the radio was some song that you used to, party to back in the day. And some memory came back in your head of some really fun event that you were at, some party or something like that, and that song was playing. And, it happens this easily. Just something that, like a song, can come up and trigger you and trigger that thought. And like I said, trigger that nostalgia. And all of a sudden, that nostalgia comes running back, and you're thinking about this great time that you had when you were drinking. And you go back to that memory, and you keep thinking about it. And now the seed has been planted. And throughout the day, maybe that song comes back up in your head later on. And when you're singing it to yourself while you're doing something. And all of a sudden, you think about it again. And that keeps happening throughout the day. Now you're thinking about it and you're playing around with it in your head. I could go to the store today. Nobody's going to know. I could just run to the, say I need to go grab something. I forgot to get something at the store. And I could run to the store real quick and, just stop by the gas station and grab a couple Deuces and drink the Deuces are the big tall beers. If I'm, talking in gibberish or whatever. But, like I said, you run to the store, grab a couple of tall beers, or you're thinking about running to the store and grabbing a couple tall beers and saying that you got to go to the store, and you think to yourself, well, I got to sit in the parking lot and drink those beers and run in the store, grab something really quick, and be back home, and nobody will know. I could maybe brush my teeth, throw a couple mints in my mouth or whatever, but you start playing these scenarios out in your head, and you really start thinking about, either drinking or using later on in the day. But what I wanted to talk about today, I know I keep getting off topic, but I'm really not. What I want to talk about today is that idea that you have in your head, it is not what you think it is. It's not going to be what you think it is. It's just not. We get these crazy ideas in our head that, we want to go back and have a drink, or we want to go back and use because we start getting that nostalgia and we think it's going to be this great time and we're going to feel so awesome. And you start really thinking about it, and you think that it's going to be this amazing feeling, and it's just going to take away all of your stress. We get these ideas in our head. I'm sorry that my voice sounds like this today. I've been outside all day today. It always does that to me. But we start playing around with these ideas in our head, and we think that it's going to be so great. It's going to be so amazing. It's going to be such a great feeling. Like I said, it's going to melt away all of your stress. All of your problems are going to go away. But it's not. And it's not going to be what you think it's going to be. At this point of doing this show, I have spoken to so many people. So many people. And I have had so many people, anytime I bring this topic up, I've had so many people tell me that when they've relapsed and gone back, that it is not what they expected it to be. They hyped it up in their head all day long, all week long, maybe all month long. Maybe you've been hyping it up in your head for months. And then when you go back and you finally do it, you've got this idea, this spectacular idea in your head that it's going to be just so amazing. And then you do it and you're like, what is this? It's kind of like that, like, womp, womp, womp. I mean, it's just not what you wanted it to be. And at that point now, you've already done it. So then once we've already done it, well, I've already drank now. And then you give yourself permission to just keep going ahead and doing it because you drank at this point now. You've already broken the seal. You broke the in case of emergency glass. So it's already broken. You're already going to have to, tell somebody that you broke the glass on the axe that's hanging on the wall. So you're already going to have to explain that one. So why not explain, the whole thing? Just go ahead and do what you want to do now. So you go ahead and just keep drinking because, like I said, you already did it. So you give yourself permission to just keep doing it. It's crazy, but that's exactly what we do. But my point to this is that, we'll keep drinking and drinking and drinking and drinking, all because of this idea that we had in our head that it was going to be just so amazing, and it really wasn't. And then when you finally do drink or use, like I said, it's disappointment. It is not what you expected it to be. It is not that warm feeling that you were expecting it to be. It's something totally different. It is not that. And then when you start to drink, then you start to realize, oh man, I forgot about this. This is giving me indigestion. You start to get that burning feeling in your throat, and then the stuff starts coming up, and you feel like you're going to throw up. And then you get that really bad headache that you get. You can feel your blood pressure coming up. Another thing that used to happen to me too when I would go back and relapse is I thought I was going to have this amazing time. I thought I was going to feel so great. And then when I finally drank, I was so disappointed that I would start to lash out. I was so disappointed in myself for going back and drinking that I would get in a really bad mood. And, people try to talk to me and I'd be like, just don't talk to me right now. I was just in a really bad mood because I'd gone back and drank. And I knew that I was not going to be able to go back to being sober again. And if I did, it was going to be a long time. I was going to have to drink for some extended period of time now. There was just no way I was going to get right back on the wagon. I was going to have to keep drinking. So I would be really upset with myself and angry because it was not what I hyped it up in my head to be. And that's, like I said, what I wanted to talk about today because I just wanted to say this. I felt like it was important to talk about this today, especially on a Saturday, that if you've been toying around in your head with that idea all day long, I promise you it's not what you expect it to be. It's not going to be what you think it is. I promise you that it's not. It's going to be a disappointment. And then you've already done it. You've already broken the ice. You've already, gone past the point of no return. And you guys know that when that happens, that, like I said, we give ourselves permission to keep drinking. And who knows how long that relapse will go on for. There's no idea. You don't have any idea. I just wouldn't do it at all because, like I said, it is not what you're hyping it up in your head to be. I can promise you that. It is not. You think you're going to have this great time, like everything's going to be just so awesome. It's not. It's going to be right back to that same lonely feeling. You're probably going to be in your house, sitting in your bed, laying in your bed all by yourself all over again, drinking to the point of blacking out and then waking up in the morning and then doing it all over again. And your days are going to be so messed up because all you're doing again is drinking, passing out, drinking, passing out, drinking, passing out. Then all of a sudden people are angry at you again, or they're really disappointed in you. At least in your head, you think they're angry, but it's more disappointment than anything else. But the way that you perceive it is that people are angry at you. And then we go down this slope and we can't get out of it. The depression starts to set in, the guilt and the shame start to set in. You keep beating yourself up. You won't, you won't forgive yourself for what you've done. And the only way to make yourself feel any better is to just continue drinking and getting drunk or using and getting high. And that's the only thing that you can do. And then you really, really get cemented into this. And then it just keeps carrying on and carrying on and carrying on. And then at some point, a year down the road, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, however long it is, maybe it's 6 months, maybe it's a month if you're lucky. But it just goes on for long periods of time. And, at that point, then we have to go through the whole process all over again. And it's just not a good feeling. And like I was talking about in yesterday's video, in my feeling, every time that you relapse, it gets just that much worse. The withdrawals are that much worse that time. So today's video, all I really wanted to get across to you guys is that if you have, in fact, been thinking about drinking, if you've been thinking about it all week long, if you've been thinking about it for the past month and, you just cannot stop thinking about it, and you think that if you could just go back and have that drink, everything's going to be great, you're going to get your energy back, you're going to be happy again. We think that we're going to be so happy when we get that drink. And I'm here to say that you're not going to be happy. You're going to be so disappointed in yourself. And you're going to be disappointed in the fact that you've hyped this up to be this magnificent feeling that you're going to feel, and then you're going to realize that it's just kind of a dud. It's not what you thought it was going to be. And you can feel your brain cells like slowly but surely just starting to go away as you're drinking. You can feel it. It used to happen to me all the time. Like I said, I thought I was going to feel great. It was going to boost my artistic capabilities. I was going to be so creative when I had this drink. As soon as I started drinking, I could feel how dumb I was getting because I wasn't thinking as sharply as I was before that. But in my head, I had this idea that it was going to create this, or it was going to give me the creativity, the artistic ability that I wanted so bad. And I felt like I needed with my alcohol, because I felt like the alcohol provided me so much creativity, and it wasn't alcohol whatsoever. It was myself. I just had this idea that it helped me be creative, and it wasn't helping me one bit. Like I said, if anything, it was deadening it down. And I didn't realize that until I got sober. So once again, if you've been playing around with this in your head all day long for the past week, for the past month, maybe you've just been playing around with it a little bit this afternoon. It's not what you're thinking it's going to be. It's not going to feel the way you expect it to feel. As soon as you get that first drink in you, you're going to realize that this really wasn't what I thought it was going to be. And then, like I said, the guilt and the shame, you're going to be so upset with yourself for going back and doing it again. And for nothing. Because like I said, it is not what you're thinking it's going to be. So for today, let's stay sober. Let's not go back. I say this all the time, but the past is in the past. Let's leave it where it is. There, in the past, yesterday, last week, last month, whatever it is that you're beating yourself up about, it's already gone. All we can do is move forward. The future isn't here yet either, but we do have right now in this moment. And in this moment, today, right now, on September the 13th, we can decide not to drink or use. It is truly one day at a time. Don't look at the big picture. Don't think about Thanksgiving. Don't think about Christmas. Don't play those scenarios around your head. Just when you get there, deal with it then. If you get over there to your family's house and you're not drinking and you go over there and it stresses you out too bad, just go. You can explain yourself later. And, if they love you and, they're your family, they're going to understand that you had to go because you couldn't take it. Sometimes we have to get out of situations if we feel like it's going to push us to drink or to use and we just can't deal with it without it. There's been situations that I couldn't deal with. I've just had to excuse myself because it was stressing me out too bad and I just could not be there. And it's not worth drinking or using in order to do something, whatever that may be. So for today, let's stay sober. Like I said, That idea that you have in your head, it is not what you think it is. I can promise you that. I can promise you that if you do go back and drink, or if you do go back and use, that feeling that you think that it's going to be, it's not going to be that. It is going to be a disappointment, and then you are going to be upset with yourself for giving in. So for today, let's stay sober, and then we don't even have to even deal with that one bit. Guys, thank you so much for being here. I really do appreciate it. And until tomorrow, I will see you guys then. Y'all have a wonderful rest of your night. I love you guys so much. Bye-bye.